everyone, and welcome to AskPolymathGeddy, your polymathic source for all information, knowledge, and wisdom. We have a question from Renee in Arizona. She says, I suffer from high anxiety brought on from very controlled upbringing. What are some practical ways to combat this disorder as opposed to using medication, which I am against? Thank you for that question. Now here's what I'm asking you. How long has it been since your parents have instilled this kind of high anxiety upon you? Because unless you have just freshly moved out and just freshly found your own life, you have yet to discover who you really are, aside from all the conditioning of the external influences that have brought you up. So if that's the case and you're still kind of new in the process of growing up from your parents and moving out into the world, then I can see how this can be a struggle. But if you are more than 5, 10 years or so, maybe 10, 15, the most, years beyond your childhood, you should have reached a point in your life where you've decided what from your childhood you want to bring into your adulthood and what you want to leave behind. Also, it's a good opportunity to decide what did you not build up and instill upon you throughout childhood and adolescence that you wish you would have, based on some knowledge and lessons learned over your 20s or 30s, to the point where now you can say, okay, I wasn't taught this as a kid like I wished, but I know this now, and I'm going to apply this now. So you really have to think of why these things are lingering. If you're beyond your early 20s, why are they lingering? Why is this an issue for me? You know, my parents made me anxious. They were judging me all the time. They were constantly scrutinizing me. They were harassing me. They were belittling me. They were ignoring me. They were neglecting me. On and on and on. The fact is, if they're doing all these negative things to you, yes, I can see if that's having an influence upon you in your early years of moving out. But if you're beyond several years or maybe 10 years after moving out from your parents, you should have had time to reflect and decide what you wish to bring with you from that time period and what you wish to leave behind. And as I said before, what you wish to cultivate that you didn't get back then. There's a lot of positive qualities and experiences and training that I didn't have from my parents back then that I've kind of nurtured within myself over the years. I've become, in a way, my own parent. There's also some negative crap that my parents did to me, a lot of it actually, that I've kind of been washing away and moving toward a more positive light and having a more goal-oriented and a more positive focus to what I'm doing. Now granted, I always had that, but I have now sort of freed myself from a lot of the pre-associations that they placed upon me at that age. And I think it's important for you to do the same thing. If anything from your childhood, especially from your parents, is holding you back, is stressing you out, is devaluing your life in some way or diminishing the experience you have in this physical realm, I suggest you take a time to reflect and sort of meditate and decide what from your past is holding you back, and then consciously tell yourself, this is conditioning. The reason I am acting this way is because of conditioning. And I think you already know that since you said it's because it was a controlled upbringing. Now, you have to kind of find a reason for holding on or letting go of things. And if something is obviously negative influence upon you, you want to cut that out. If it's positive, you want to cultivate that and nurture it and build it up and have more of it. So anything negative from your parents, you need to take the time to consciously undo. And really what it comes down to is your permission. You give your parents permission to go into your adulthood and carry on with their negative influence. That is unacceptable. You need to find only the positive influences and cultivate that. And anything negative, now that you're an adult, you cut that off and say, okay, goodbye. You can go and die with my past in this experience. Go. And that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's healthy to do that. But you need to have the conscious decision and determination to do that. And you need to set time alone in meditation to think of all the times where they've made you feel anxious and insecure in some way, and tell yourself, the reason I feel this way now is because this is what I'm more familiar with. I know this more, and I've been most exposed to this type of feeling and this type of influence. And therefore, I am choosing now to separate myself from that. See what I'm saying? You want to separate yourself from what you have brought with you over all these years. And the way you do that is you realize that you have control. You are the one that has control in this situation in regards to what your parents have done to you or what they've kind of built you into being. Now, it's their job to do the right thing, and hopefully the right thing is just what you have, and therefore you can just keep building on that and don't have to worry so much. But a lot of parents don't do the right thing because they're not really fit to be parents, are they? To be honest. A lot of parents just become parents on accident, sometimes on purpose, but either way, they're just not fit to be a parent because they haven't done their homework on what a good parent is and what their role is to their child. And so they bring this child into this world under really bad circumstances and give them a crappy upbringing and set them up to fail. Now that's not what you want. So you have to determine what your parents have done to you or given you or created within you and decide what comes and what goes. Okay? So basically, I hope you work on that. There's another thing that you said you wanted to know what some remedies would be. Well, aside from the most important remedy, which is the power of the will to say, I accept this, I do not accept that. And make no mistake, although it's not always the best thing, in fact, it's usually not, there are times when anger is the most perfect attribute that you can have to solve a problem. If you're angry or have disdain for injustice, that anger and disdain for injustice can propel you to move beyond that and find some justice in this world. Sometimes it takes anger to move out. Sometimes it takes a sense of inner peace and joy. It all depends on your situation. Another thing I wanted to say about medication, not all medication is bad because you have to think what literally is medication. It's anything that treats disease or illness. Now, pharmaceutical drugs are supposedly medication because they're supposed to have treated illness, disease and illness. Okay. Do pharmaceutical drugs really treat disease or illness? Or do they just play with disease and illness and keep it perpetuating so that you can continue to pay into a system and never get cured? You see what I'm saying? I made a video on this already. You can check why do we have such systemic failure, and there's more elaboration on that video. But anyway, I hope that you can solve this problem. I hope I answered it right. It all comes down to you deciding for yourself what you are willing to accept and reconditioning yourself. Tell yourself what from your past belongs in your present and what does not. Also, what from your past that doesn't exist should have, and therefore try to cultivate that within your life now. But that's my answer for today. I hope it helped you. If you have any more questions, you can email me at AskPolymathGeddy@gmail.com, or you can send me an email directly into my YouTube account, AskPolymathGeddy. But the best way is probably the Gmail account. I'm on there, and it's a great way for me to organize the questions so I can address them. So thanks for your question, and I will talk to all of you very soon. Thank you.